Your Bo, Dre Clark, and well, yeah, we back. I'm back. Working slowly but surely to recover, and I am going to be working on that OBS business to try to get the keyboard to show up and um, all that good stuff. So I'm working on it. So, but I did want to come on and share with you guys. Hello, hello. Play by Sight has been published this month, June 2nd. I'm excited about that. And I finally was able to get this out. It's been a long time coming. So I finally was able to get just a little well enough. Thank God for allowing me to get well enough to bring out this book. So we have a wonderful book actually. My book went actually June 2nd through June 9th is when they emailed me and said, "Hey, by the way, your play by sight book has made top number one best book." Did not see that coming. Actually, I didn't think my book was going to even grade that well. Um, yeah. Honestly, I knew my book was going to be nice and beautiful when it comes down to what's in it. Some people used to say, as an old school saying, you can have a raggedy car, meaning the outside looks terrible, but that engine is top notch, right? I can still get to my job, I can still get home, I can get to school, I can get wherever I need to go, but I got a top notch engine because I cared for my engine, changed the oil and the transmission fluids and all of the stuff that's necessary to be done on an engine in the car. And so while people probably laughing about my bucket, my bucket is still getting me to work. I'm still paying my bills. And I'm not worried about paying a car note, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 car. So while I'm rolling around in my bucket, this brings me to my other thought. I paid off my OG car, my old I call it the old 04 2000 04 Nissan, and not this year, but I paid it off. I believe it was in 2024. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't 2024. I think it was 23 or 22, one of them years. But yeah, I paid that bad boy off. Then turn around, my wife wanted to get another car. And just make a long story short, but so she was like, "Hey, let's just buy this car." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, a car! No, oh my god, nice car. Don't get me wrong, y'all." So I got a 20. So she went and got the 2015 Toyota Camry, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I just paid off the other car. Why you want me to get another car?" She also had a car already, which we also paid off. And I'm like, "Good Lord, we got three cars." And uh, so we basically had two cars that was paid off. Her car, little baby, her I call it the baby Scion Toyota, and we paid that off long before the Nissan. And then she was like, "Oh, no, I think we need another car, another little nice little car." So she goes get this car, brings it to me. Of course, it's in my name. Of course, it had to go in my name because we went down to the car dealership, and my credit was a little bit better. But so moving forward, so we in 25, so 2024, somewhere around about, I don't remember what month it was, but I paid it off. Um, I paid off that car. I only had it maybe not even a year or so, and then pay that substantial amount of money on that car, the 2015. So then I took ill in 2023, But I was trying to get this book off before I got sick. I did not know I was going to get sick. So anyway, I took ill very seriously, badly. And but I was trying to finish it, but I couldn't finish it like I wanted it to at first. So this book is play by sight. It was designed actually to be able to play on keyboard. Mm-hmm. Right, on the keyboard, and also it was designed to also take these chords and go over to the Hammond organ. It's over there, right? The Hammond organ. The only thing I didn't get a chance to get to was when I got sick in 23. I didn't know the severity of the illness that I had that was going to be life threatening, sort of life threatening, so to speak. I didn't know how terrible it was. I thought I was just having some type of muscle issue in my back. Actually, no, in my back in the beginning, and then taking over the counter medication. And one day it became so, man, I didn't know how to explain it. It was bad. And I thought everything was gonna be okay. The next thing I know, my wife comes home and she's talking to me and she's like, "You looking weird and looking funny or strange, or whatever." And then she was like, check me out. Was like, "Man, you got a high fever, man." And I was freezing cold at the same time. And then the pain was excruciating to that point that I barely could walk. Anyways, so yeah, she was like, "Come on to the hospital, let's go." And of course, bow falls to the floor. And then she's like, "I'm getting on the phone." I'm like, "Hold on, let me get my dignity together." Anyway, so I try to get up and bow, fall down again. She's like, "I'm calling." I'm like, "No, no, no, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me get my dignity together." Y'all don't wear me, y'all something else. But she was caring so much, but she was like, "Nah, something's up, bruh." So I didn't go to the hospital right then still. Um, and this crazy thing is, all this all happened when I was clocking out from work on a Thursday, a Wednesday going into a Thursday, and I only had 2 more nights to work. So I just thought that maybe I might have twisted something or whatever, or picked up something the wrong way, or I got up off the chair the wrong way, and I had this massive pain on my right side. It was crazy, and it was actually crazy going through my back and coming out of my chest. And I was like, "Man, crap! Am I having a heart attack? What is this?" But anyway, um, so yeah, I survived that whole day with, of course, massive pain, chills, and whatnot. Anyway, fast forward to find out that I went into the hospital at midnight that same day, but basically it's the next day, ready as Friday morning, because I couldn't take it no more. I couldn't sleep, eat, nothing. I couldn't move around. It was bad. It was awful. So at the hospital, and the doc was like, "Yo, we think you might have to have your appendix moved." I'm like, "No, hold on, no, I ain't never had nobody cutting on me." So I got to thinking about something that happened to me like 19 years earlier, and I had walking pneumonia then. So I remember that same pain. It was so excruciating that nothing that I was taking was getting rid of the pain. So he comes back later. He was like, "Oh, okay, let's run some tests. Let's see what's up." So he ran the test, and sure enough, I had walking pneumonia. But at the same time, I had another illness that was brewing at the same time, but no one knew it, not even me. Not that I'd even expected that to happen, actually. And so during that process, he treated me and went home. Barely made it back to home after leaving the hospital. That was the crazy thing, because when he was showing me my X-rays, he was like, "Bro, your X-rays is filled up. Your lungs are filled up." And I'm like, "Okay." In the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, "Man, I should be hospitalized, you think?" But he was like, "No, man, I'm just gonna treat you. Just go home, take this antibiotics for 7 days, and then hopefully things will clear up." I didn't make it even that far. Got home, and it was just terribly bad. And then the doctor just so happens, I guess his boss or whoever saw my chart, I guess, and was like, "Hey, you need to call this dude and come back." Me. So he ended up calling my wife. I guess he just tried to get a hold of me, but I didn't hear the phone because I told you I was bad. I was terrible, sick. So Finally, the wife, he said, "Hey, they want you to come back to the hospital." I'm like, "Well, now I'm at home at this point, and there's only one way they're gonna have to get me back to the hospital. They have to come pick me up because I couldn't even walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't eat. It was bad. It wasn't even COVID. That's what I thought I had." And when I first realized, that's what I was ill with, and I thought it was COVID, but it wasn't. Far from COVID. It was walking pneumonia again. And then after that, basically, they called her and said, "Hey, I need to come back right away." The same day that they had already seen me in the hospital, and I'm like, I can't even get up, I can't walk, I can't even hardly talk. They just had to bring the bus and come and get me. But anyway, survived that night, the whole night. That would have been on a Friday night going into Saturday. The incident started on a Thursday morning, all day. November the 9th, I will never forget it. November 9th, 2023. A whole day I was just messed up. And then all the way into the midnight. And then I couldn't take it. And then when I went to the hospital, midnight on the next day, which is Friday morning. Treated me for like, I think it was like 9 hours or something, 8 to 9 hours. Then sent me home. I was like, to ask me how I got home, how I drove back home, don't ask me because I don't even remember how I did it. In fact, I don't even remember how I did it when I went to the hospital. Actually, I drove to myself to the hospital when all this was going on. I don't even remember it. That's terrible. I know I got up. I was hurting. I was in pain. My wife was asleep. And I got up at midnight, and then she was knocked out asleep, so I didn't want to bother her. So I just made my way to the car. And yeah, I probably would have crashed and killed myself, but I had a, what they call it, mind over matter. I think I was doing the mind over matter. Like, bro, you just gotta just get to the hospital, cause. So that's what happened. I did the mind over matter going, and then I did the mind over matter leaving from the hospital, coming back home. But then they called 5 hours, 6 hours later, I think 6.5 hours later. By this time, it's toward the evening time, 5, 6 o'clock. And they tell my wife that I need to come back. The doctor want me to come back ASAP because I needed to be admitted into the hospital. But at this point, I was like, I couldn't move, couldn't do anything. My wife was like, "Let's call the ambulance." I'm like, I am not paying for no ambulance to come and pick me up. You know how much that costs? We have insurance. I have insurance on my job, but still, I'm like, no. So anyway, I called the doctor early Saturday morning, and said, "Hey, I understand you want me to come back." I barely was able to talk. I couldn't hardly breathe. And then he was like, "Yeah, man, I need to come back ASAP. Why ain't you coming? Why didn't you come back already when we called you?" And I was like, I couldn't answer that question, y'all. My mind was just cluttered with just the massive pain. The massive pain. When I say massive, it was massive. Beyond words that I couldn't even explain it. It was just the pain. It was just off the hook. And then on top of that, the chills and the fever, and I was like, I barely could talk. I was like, I couldn't even answer that question. Anyway, he was like, "Listen, man, get here as soon as you can." That doctor had stayed there from the day I went in at midnight all the way to the next day. And by the time I got there, he was there. I didn't get there. I know y'all probably say, "Shame on you, Andre. You would have died." Yeah, I thought I was gonna die that day. Actually, as a matter of fact, I thought I was gonna die that day, November 9th, actually, to be honest with you, because that's how painful it was. Anyway, yeah, I saw like myself up here and my body looking down at myself. It was just a strange, weird, crazy, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, y'all, with that being said, I had my experience in that area. But just bring me to me trying to finish this book. I was like, man, I gotta get this book finished. But at the time, the book wasn't important. Me practicing every day like crazy, like y'all used to watch me every day. Come on, every day on Facebook, YouTube, basically Facebook, YouTube, and practicing stuff, learning new stuff. Yeah, I couldn't even. Was far from my mind. Music was far from my mind. Me writing books, far from my mind. I was more on the less trying to figure out what is happening to me. All I was thinking, like, what is going on with me? Like, what is happening? Like as if I can see myself in the future, like, oh man, Andre, you really sick. This is what's happening. I could see myself from the outer body. It was weird. It was crazy. Anyway, Saturday, um, didn't make my way back to the hospital that morning after talking to the hospital, the doctor there, but I ended up getting there by toward the afternoon. By then, because it took me so long, because I told y'all I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. I barely was able to breathe. It was bad. Finally, I was able to muster myself, the mind over matter thing with the wifey and whatnot, and she, of course, my dear honey. And I hated for her to see me like that, but it was terrible. She was having a hard time trying to deal with that. But yeah, made it went to the hospital, into the ER. I will remember this and I will never forget it. I was sitting there, like, y'all need to get me in the back like right away because I feel weird. And I was telling my wife, I said, I feel strange and weird. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, I feel weirdly weird, strange. She's like, what are you talking about? Like a weird feeling came over me. Like I'm literally finna just disappear out of my body, basically. And then she was like, what? And so anyway, they finally came out and said, hey, let's go. And they brought me to the back in the ER, started doing what they need to do, juicing me up. And yeah. So they treated me for, hospitalized me for 4 days. But again, there was something else brewing outside of me having walking pneumonia. But no one detected it yet. And I kept telling my wife, I said, something is wrong. Because even after I was treated in the ER and then treated in the hospital for 4 days, I should be feeling great. Back to Mr. Andre Clark. But I was feeling worser by the minute, by the seconds. And I was like, something ain't right. So the doctor's like, oh, never the doctor. He's like, oh man, you're gonna be okay. Just go home. I'm gonna give you some antibiotics. I was like, the ER doctor said that and told me to come back right away. And then anyway, so they discharged me in the home for 6 days, trying to take this antibiotic stuff. Nothing was working. When I say nothing, everything I was already doing, everything they was giving me wasn't working. I was like, something is right, not right. At this point, I was the worst, weakest moment of my lifetime. When somebody got to wash your face, brush your teeth, and comb your hair, brush your hair, put your clothes on, I was at that point. I was like, oh, okay, this going way too far. What's going on now? So mustered up some energy again, mind over matter. It was like 6 days in. I was like, we got to go back to the ER. That's the second time I walked in. And immediately, another doctor said, hey, yo, I seen your chart. You ain't going home. I'm like, what? You're not going home for a while. I'm like, oh, okay, that was scary. But anyway, so I ended up being in the hospital the second time in November, all the way up to my birthday, which was November 30th. So I was in there for a while. And doing that process, they ran lab tests. Now, before they did that, actually another doctor walked in and said, hey, I'm not sure what the rest of the doctors are thinking or looking into, but I have a hunch that you not only had walking pneumonia, but also you contracted what is called valley fever. And I was like, me and my wife was like, what? I couldn't talk really, but we were looking at each other like, are you for real? And he was like, yes, sir. You had walking pneumonia, but that's what triggered valley fever. And I was like, oh man, because I've heard about valley fever, um, from people I know personally who had it, and it was terrible for them. And again, I would always say this: I would not wish this type of illness be on nobody, even if it's my worst enemy. And I don't think I even have any enemies as far as I know of. But I wouldn't wish none of that. Valley fever, COVID was one thing. I promise y'all, this valley fever is no joke. It's like 10 times worse than COVID. That's just my opinion for me. So from experiences from other people I heard or know personally had it, it was terrible. You can't eat, you lose loss of food, you started losing weight. Everything that was your favorite food Ain't your favorite food no more. It was terrible, y'all. It was crazy. Now the drink part, I didn't have an issue with the drinking water, juice, and stuff like that. It was every food that came my way, I couldn't eat it. I was like, wow, man, this is weird. Like I said, I had COVID before, twice. Matter of fact, at 21, when I got sick, that's when I was writing the book. And then 22, I got COVID again. The first time was when we weren't vaccinated the first time, and that was terrible. That was horrible. But I never lost appetite. I lost smell, but I had everything. Uh, let's say I didn't have diarrhea, none of that crazy stuff. Mine was more respiratory. Could hardly breathe out of my nose, my mouth. It was terrible. Chest compression, all that stuff hurting, headaches, and then the fever, the chills, and then I had a little bit of cough. I had the cough, yes, sore throat, all that type of stuff. And what was the other symptoms? But those were the normal symptoms that I would get if I'm having a bad allergy attack. So that kind of like they act like a actually common cold. Anyway, so I experienced that. So with COVID, so I had everything else but diarrhea thing. um, like I said, I was able to eat. I was eating up the house. My wife was like, "Bro, you got COVID? And you sick?" My wife was like coming left and right, bringing me food. My poor honey. every other hour, she bringing me food. You hungry again? Oh my God! Yeah, I had a serious appetite when I had COVID the first time, and the second time around. Now the second time around, I didn't lose. The second time around, I only had two symptoms. The other one, I had the full symptoms, except for, like I said, the diarrhea process. I didn't have none of that. But yeah. But the second time around, I had just the nose running, eyes all red and all that kind of stuff. Just a small amount of respiratory, not much. Um, and they said call it fatigue, really extremely tired. So that's what I had the second time, and that was pretty much it. But then that was in 22, and then so 21 I had the worst of the COVID, except for, like I said, the diarrhea properly. I didn't have that, and then the second time it was a lot better because I got vaccinated, and then I didn't have no major symptoms from the last time. And then here comes 2023. I'm literally trying to get this book out in 23. The plan was December 25th of 2023, but that didn't happen because I got sick in November the 9th in 23, and that just plans went out the window. So you still can buy the book, still get the book. It still got some hot chords in here, some fat chords, some dope chords, some off the chain chords. I started it out in the beginning for your, what I call the theory process, learning your skills, number system, and so forth, and things of like that. I kind of switch back and forth with my health and music. But so as of today, I'm a lot better than where I was. A few, I want to say it's a few months. So we're in June now, so January I thought I was not gonna be here because it was bad. That valley fever is no joke, y'all. It's just off the hook. But thank God for this one doctor who came in and identified real quickly, like, hey, bro, I don't know what these doctors tripping on because we ruled out this, we ruled out that, we ruled out that. I saw them on they saw my chart and it was like something they missing. So he's like, I'm almost positively sure you have valley fever. And sure enough, when he hospitalized me in 2 days, I think it was, after they did the lab test on me or whatever, sent the results, the stuff out, and got the results back in, I think, the third day or so. And sure enough, valley fever. The pneumonia was out the window, but they still continued treating me for the pneumonia and the valley fever. But here's the thing, that this is what they say for human beings. They say we have to, okay, you got this issue going here, you got this issue going here. Which one is critical? Right. So if my pneumonia when the pneumonia was a major issue and I can't hardly breathe, then their priority is to deal with the pneumonia. Yeah, valley fever can kill you too. All right. So so now they say, okay, if you have valley fever, we can't treat you with the two medications combined together because it might be overwhelming to the body. However, I told them, listen, for the little bit breath I had in me, y'all give me both. Treat me for both. The pneumonia and the valley fever. This crazy demon. Treat me for both of them. And not to I guess I would say, I guess you gotta watch what you wish for. But one doctor did come in and say, well, we want to treat you for this, but we want to treat you for that because you got two things going on at the same time. And I was like, listen, treat me with both, carefully, if you will. And then so the doctor was like, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna treat you for that, and we're gonna treat you for this one. But we just want you to know if we treat you for the valley fever, it may be the high end of the medication that you may not be able to physically deal with. And they weren't lying about that. But at the time I was so messed up anyways that the pain was already, it was like having the pain already and having the medication increasing the pain on top of that. That was just like OM to the GZ. Like I was just like, God take me right now. This is it. But they did explain that, we're gonna treat you with this, we're gonna treat you with that. But if you insist that you want us to treat you with both, we will. But we were gonna do what they call gradual. So yes, they started me with the gradual. Actually, that was the plan to start me with the gradual medication for the treatment for valley fever. And oh my God, that stuff is strong. Super strong. I was like, man, I thought I was just gonna die from the pain that I was having, and cause after a while you become numb to it. Well, I won't say numb. Actually, I use the word numb, but after a while you just become like, I'm out. I see y'all. Just put me in the casket. I'm out. I'm done. That's kind of where I was at before the medication that was treating me for the valley fever. So that was when they hospitalized me the second time. So they was just, man, they had me all lined up with all kind of stuff on me. It was crazy, monitoring my heart and all. It was whack. It was just wild. It was some wild stuff. But anyway, so I went through all that trauma, and yeah, went through that trauma. In 23, uh, and then they released me to go home the day before my birthday because I told them, I'm like, listen, it's my birthday. I want to celebrate my birthday. And if I'm going to die, let me go home and die. No one wants to die in the hospital per se. All right. So if it's my time, then let me go home. So after they did this for several weeks in the hospital, and then it was like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I want to go home. If I don't want to die here. I want to close my eyes and be done, and yeah, let me do that at home. So they was like, okay, are you sure? And of course, they tell you, when they discharge you, this might happen, this might happen, this might happen. But anyway, at the end of the day, God had the last say. So that's my point. So anyway, I went home, suffered for a long time, trying to what we call recover. It was terrible. Then that's 23 and going into 24. All of a sudden I felt better. Halfway, let me see. I went back to work um the second week in February, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm back. I'm back on my feet. I'm good. All of a sudden, boom, I'm good. I'm back to normal. And then went back to work for all the way to August, actually June. And then my wife broke her foot. Oh, brother, my mom was sick, so I had to go back and forth with that, and to the hospital and all that kind of stuff and surgery. And this is crazy. And go see my mom. She had surgery, and it was a trip, y'all. So I was feeling great. I was on the medication, and then that they was giving me, and then August. By the time now, my wife is able to walk now again after breaking a foot in June. So June, July, August, mid part of August, I want to say the second week of August. All right, yeah, about the second week of August, my wife was able to start walking around a little bit better on her own. Thank you. My mom had gotten well, and from her situation, I'm now sick. Out of the blue again, from a different type of pain that was beyond words that cannot even explain. Um, and then what the valley fever was in my lungs, but like I said, the medication had cleared it up, but then it found a new location to attack me. So I will never forget this. August 2024, I believe it was the 16th or the 15th. I believe it was 15. I will never forget it. I was, like I said, I was perfectly well from February, mid part of February, all the way to August 15th, 2024. And out of the blue, bam! My back went out, and this massive pain hit me in my back, and it was constantly going on, nonstop, y'all, just nonstop. Then I couldn't walk, couldn't talk, I couldn't put my own clothes on, couldn't eat, couldn't drive, couldn't play the keyboard, couldn't write, couldn't speak, couldn't do nothing, couldn't brush my hair. It was terrible. I couldn't brush my teeth. It was bad. So ended up going back to the hospital, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. It was like, we don't know what's up. And then I'm like, wow, you guys don't know what's up. What is happening to me? And so then it was like, okay, well, maybe we'll send you to another hospital. So they sent me to another hospital to do a biopsy on my back. By this time, I didn't care what they was sticking in my back, y'all. Just a freaking long needle, this long, sticking down my back. I didn't care at this point because I was way out there in massive pain at this point. So anyway, they did the biopsy. So I went to another hospital and had to spend 4 days there because they wanted to see if I had cancer. And so anyway, 4 days there. I think 2.5 days in, results came back. Bro, you good? You don't have cancer in your back. And they, what they say, finalized it that, hey, it's the valley fever. The valley fever moved to my back and started eating at the bone in my back. So let's say, oh, y'all looking at the camera from this angle, but let's just say you're standing, I'm sitting here in front. You have the front part of your bone in your body in your back, and then you have another layer on the back side with the buddies is. So the buddies is, I call it the front side, and then you have your backbone on the other side of the back. And so this the valley fever, the infection, or they call it the fungus, had found another spot and was chewing at the bone, not the muscle, not the skin, none of that. It was chewing the bone. It literally like cracked my bone in my back, creating a massive pain in my back where I couldn't walk. I could walk, crawl, nothing. I was literally like just basically paralyzed from my hip down, basically back down from to my and it sciatic was what it was like messing with my sciatic. It was just crazy. So that at that point, that's when it was like, yo, we have these very different options. We're gonna have to put you not on the pills anymore because they're not working. And this freaking demon, I call it the demon, this devil demon infection or fungus found its way to my back, valley fever, found its way into my back. Where it's come from, they say it's from the soil. All right, air filters around. We breathe it in our nose, or we may intake it in our mouths, go down our throat, and then it lodges in your lungs. All right, and then it just dormant there for ever. When I use the word forever, I'm believing that it was already in my body already. All right, but it had to take something to get me sick. All right. So I didn't have the sickness like coughing and when I had pneumonia this time. It wasn't no coughing and sneezing, none of that. It was just this sharp pain came. 18 years earlier, I had all those other symptoms: the cough, the sneezing, the respiratory issue, can't breathe out the nose, the mouth, the chest hurting, the cough, and all that kind of stuff, fatigue. All right, I had all those symptoms, and including that massive pain on both sides, my left side and my right side of my lungs back then. That was very scary. Actually, I thought I was going to be gone then when I had walking pneumonia because I didn't know I had it. I thought I was just having a bad allergy attack, and couldn't find out it was actually pneumonia. I'll tell you a story about that. But anyway, a doctor saw me for that and sent me home and said, "Oh, keep taking the over the counter medication." In that same day, I went back. This is 19 years earlier, and went to another doctor in the middle of the night because I couldn't breathe. Don't ask me how I made it there to the hospital. Yep, I got in the car, mind over matter, made my way to the ER, jumped out the car. I was gasping for air, and they was like, "What's wrong with you, Dre? What's up? What's wrong with you?" I couldn't talk. And then that's when the doctor's like, "Bro, you have walking pneumonia," and it went from walking pneumonia to bronchitis. I call it bronchitis because I was coughing and making that real that deep sound. So that was terrible. That was many years back. So that's what made me remember this time around in 23 that okay, I'm having the same symptoms except for not all the other stuff on the list, but just that massive pain. Because I'll tell you, I promise you, that pain would you would never forget the pain. You ever have a pain like this? You would never forget it because it's unbearable. Like it, you cannot walk. If somebody touch you, you go, oh, it was bad. So, anyway, 24, like I said, I ended up getting the biopsy. They said, okay, you good to go. You can go home. So I went home. Thought I was gonna get better again, because I was on the medication. But what happened was when they switched my medication from 2023 to 2024 in August, they gave me a lower dose of medication. That triggered the virus or the infection to find another spot in my back. And it went havoc. I mean, when I said havoc, I'm telling you, if I was a surgeon, I wanted to go take a blade and just cut my whole back open to get the demon out. It was that bad. It was terrible. I wanted to cut that son of a gun out. I couldn't walk. I was like, man, man, it was y'all. It was awful. It was awful. But so I had to deal with that pain for a substantial time until I got hospitalized in December of 2024 again. And that time, I really, really thought I was going to be out of here for sure. And that was going into 25, actually. So December 28th, I want to give it take 28, 29, 30. Yeah. I believe it was December 28th, 2024. I already, at this point, for sure, that I was going to be out of here for sure because this bad boy was like just raining havoc in my back. I couldn't sit, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't turn, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do nothing. I was just it was horrible. But yeah, but it was chewing at the bone in my back. Like if y'all sitting my back to y'all, it's not this side of the back, it's the inner part of the body of the back. And the doctors giving me an ultimatum. Well, I wouldn't say ultimatum, maybe I should say that. But they were giving their opinions on how I will be able to um, recover from it. It was either surgery, which they didn't want to do because they would have to go through my stomach to get to that son of a gun. But damage was already done because it had cracked I had a fractured crack bone in my back. That's because he was kept. It's like a woodpecker. Keep doing this. That's how the pain was doing. It's like my heart rate was going boom, 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 boom. The faster or the slower, boom, boom. I don't know what was the worst. My heart rate slower with the pain or my heart rate fast with the pain. Both of them was terrible. So whenever my heart rate was either slow or fast, it was like that demon was in my back, just kept hitting that my bone, chewing at the bone, just like this, boom, 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 like a heartbeat, like this. Whether my heart rate was faster, boom, 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 boom. I was like, oh my god, it's like a woodpecker just pecking at that at a tree. That's how it was in my back. I was like, man, y'all got to get this thing out of my back. I can feel it moving around. I was like, oh my god. So then that's when it was like, okay, in the month of, like I said, actually, sorry, I forgot. I had went to the hospital before that. Actually, what month was that? This was August. I actually went to the hospital before December. Mm, Let me think. I can't remember. It was in 2024. I went to the hospital one more time before. I can't remember what the month was, but it was before that. Was when I was at my worst of the worst. Um, yeah, it was a. I can't remember what month. It might have been September or so, something like that, somewhere in there. Because August, September, October. Um, it might have been September, or October. I went back in, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to survive this. And then they was like, okay, cool, we're gonna deal with you. And then I got hospitalized that one last time. I'll just say just that one last time that I can remember. I told you a lot of stuff happened. I couldn't remember half the stuff. Even me playing some stuff, I don't forgot stuff. So that's why I gotta come back in here and practice. But anyway, um, so 25, 24, 20. That was December 28, 29, 30, going into January. I was at the worst that you can get, I believe. And then for sure, I promise y'all, then I really thought I was gonna die. Then I thought I was out of here kicking the bucket, because what they did was it was like, listen, Dre, um, you've been through a lot. This infection is going way too long, and we gonna have to beef up the medication with some harsher stuff. We sorry that this was gonna have to happen, and they'll go through the whole shebang. And I was like, you know what? Let's just get it over with, cause I can't take this pain. So yeah, they gave me the medication. It was very painful with on top of the pain I was having. And yeah, landed me in the hospital for 13 days, I think. 13 or 14 days, something like that. Basically, last part of December and majority of January. And it was like, hey, we got to hit you with this real hardcore stuff, cuz this is going too long. So yeah. So they hit me with the stuff, and oh my god, I my wife was like, man, y'all, they gonna you gonna die. Not she didn't say it, but out of her mouth, but I could just see the expression. She was like, you know, I can't take this. She was like, I can't take this, baby. I can't take it. Like, I hate seeing you like this. I was like, I know. So in between that time span, they gave me the stuff. Um, and I had to stay in the hospital, like I said, maybe like 13, 14 days. And then after that, I had to take the stuff home with me because they didn't want me to stay in the hospital from January, February, March. Yeah, so they didn't want me to stay in the hospital that long like that. So they said, hey, we're going to see you home, give you the stuff that you already taken at the hospital. And this was harsh stuff. I mean, harsh, real harsh stuff. So anyway, I took the stuff home. Was trying to do it here, and yeah, it made me extremely sick to the point that a few times my wife was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna lose my husband." It's terrible. Just have your wife saying that, and it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose you, baby. No, hold on. Yeah, so I had to go to the ER again, about maybe like 5 times or so. Yeah, about 5 times. And then I want to say, because we in June now, so I think I was hospitalized again in 25. I can't remember what month it was. It was March, I think. And so they hospitalized me again for a long period of time, and said, hey, um, now what they decided to do was, since they filled me up with all this hard course medication, and I felt like I was on the verge of dying, basically. Anyway, so the doctors came and said, "I'm sorry, Andre. We're gonna flush you out now." Basically, flush me out with stuff. I said, "Thank you." That's all I had left in my body to say thank you. That was it, please. Because I just kind of hated to see my wife looking at me going through that. So anyway, so it let me flush me out for a while, and then sent me home, and then so that was around February actually. That's February. Um, and then around February, I started to kind of get it together because they, was giving that medication. And then I was like, this stuff is too strong. Y'all need to switch me over to something else. So they switched me over to another medication that I take by Pew from earlier today. And I had to take it twice a day. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, a miracle happened. I can move my feet, shake my hand. I can talk, I can speak, I can move around, and I can write. I can play again. All right. So that's what happened. I got better over time. So yeah, I went through a lot, y'all. So anyway, go over to my website. My website is Bishop Drayster Clark. Hotcourse dot info. My brain's always thinking .com. Pick up your copy. If you are new and you're trying to learn how to play, you know somebody who want to learn how to play, I got the chords in the book, and left hand and right hand. You would not be able to make no mistakes from this. Um, my whole ordeal was the cut across the field. Um, yes, give you the theory, right? A few pages you got to go through. No whole bunch of preliminary foolishness in the book. You got going straight to the jugular vein, so to speak. So we have chapter 1, our scales. Chapter 1 is an introduction for you see how it looks on the keyboard. Everything's all lettered up. Okay, and then chapter 2, we have our chords for both left hand and right hand. Our major move, my signature, our major move, the minor move, right? So chapter 1 is your major move. Chapter 3 is your minor chord. All right. Also in there, in chapter 3 is your augmented chord. All right, my signature. Also in there, chapter 3 is your diminished move. Chapter 4, we bouncing off over to the major 7th. So this is my little signature: major, minor, augmented, right, diminished, major 7th, right. So that is chapter 4. Chapter 5, we go into the sus2 and the sus4 and the 7 sus4 chord and all 12 keys. All right, so that's chapter 5. And then over here, chapter number 6, we have our dominant chord I'm talking about. Dominant chord, right? We call it dominant chord, the C7 chord, right? Call it dominant chord. And in all 12 keys. Chapter 7, we go over here to the major 7 with the sharp 5. That's that after that augmented chord in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got it all in all 12 keys. Okay. Chapter number 8 is tritone. All right. And that's your tritone. You probably say, wow, that's all the chords. No. I can create chords and chord progressions just by looking at chapter 2 through chapter 8 and create chord progressions. That's basically what I did and went over here and put it over here in chapter 9 for you all. All right, I did it all for you all, right? And as I was mentioned earlier, like I said, this book is designed for keyboard and organ. You just have to put the bass line in for yourself. But my next book, my second edition book that's coming out, um, will have the bass line this time around. All right, because I'm praying to God that I don't get sick. Praying to God that nothing happens. I was going to go back and do this, but this would have pushed this book out to August to have my editors to go ahead and put the baseline in my very first book here. But again, I didn't know where I was going to be setting at the time. Yes, because it's June. This is me between January, right? The massive sickness I had to deal with. February. Okay, I couldn't walk. I was pushed around in a wheelchair and everything, y'all. It was just crazy. And then March, I start praying like, God, please help me be able to walk, at least move my hand, at least grab a bottle to drink. All right. So I was praying hard, like, like really, I really, really was praying hard, like, okay, I really need to start to try to get my body together, but I was in still pain. Um, so they got rid of that chewing in my back, that bone, and that bug. I call it the bug. The demon was chewing in my back. They got rid of that. But what happened was my muscles had become restricted. I guess I could use it that way, and my muscle was compensating for the pain that I was having. So basically, I became what they call stiff backed. Stiff backed. I don't know if that's a word, but my back became extremely stiff, and my muscles are extremely stiff. It's loosened up now a little bit because now I can get up at ease a little bit, without feeling extreme pain. So and I'm able to sit in my chair, my music chair and everything. It don't hurt, nothing like that. If I sit way too long, I'll start feeling the muscles are hurting. Of course, take a medication for that. Um, so yeah, so I'm just praising God that I don't have that that chewing in my back no more. That was beyond crazy. Like this, if I I don't want to damage my book, but if I was taking this little sharp edge and kept tapping at the same spot over and over and over, eventually it's gonna cause damage. Eventually, you know, just kept tapping at that same spot. Keep tapping at that same spot. That's how it was with this uh, crazy demon in my back. I called it a demon, but God is I was able to, with the doctor's medication and all that stuff, was able to get that all under control. That stopped immediately after I was hospitalized this last time in this year, 25, January, February in that area, and then like I said, by March, I was praying like, man, I need to be able to get my feet on the ground. But then now my muscles in my back was so extremely tight, I couldn't even walk. That was very painful still for a while. So over time, ice packing it, heat packing it, putting all this what's it called, heat pads and all kind of stuff and ointments on there. So it's getting a lot better than what it was. I don't see myself running around here like a 16-year-old kid, picking stuff up or whatever, throwing it around like King Kong or something like that. But I'm way better than where I was before. I would say I don't want to say I'm 100%. I'm like maybe give or take 95, 96% okay. Um, if I was 100% okay, that would mean I'm not on the medication anymore, and this demon has left my body. So what they say is that do the valley fever leave your body? From the doctor's experiences, that they say that sometimes if find another spot somewhere else in your body and try to hide there for a while, and then all of a sudden when you stop taking the medication, something might trigger, like a bad allergy attack I might get, and then that may trigger the fungus to start acting a fool, start acting up. All right, all righty. So yes, play by sight, and I'm sorry I can't see you guys. Let me see. Can I do it over here? I know some of you guys been chiming in. I'm just running my mouth. Um, let me see. Because we were talking about the 736, and now I went off into my situation. But I just wanted y'all to know that I'm getting better, feeling better. And my plan is to come back and get back on the keyboard and practice. Let me see. How would I do that? Because I can't see what you guys are saying. How would I do that actually? Let me see. So I can respond to you guys' comment. Oh, my glasses is over there. Give me 1 second. Grab my glasses. And thank you guys for those who've been praying for me. Rooting for me to be better, get better. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see here. How would I see this? I've done this in a while. Let's see. So I appreciate you guys coming on board to hang out with me for a minute. Let me see if that way. That way. Okay, maybe I can see what y'all seeing over here, because the phone is behind me. All right. What's your favorite chord? Okay, now I can see. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Just be talking and running them off. Running. My favorite chord. All these chords are my favorite chords. Actually, there's no unfavorite chord that I don't have. Okay, now what happened to my? What happened to the keyboard? Yeah. So there's no. Oh. There's no unfavorite chord that I have. All chords is my favorite. What's your favorite chord? They all my favorite. I mean, it it depends on what you want to groove on. Of course, y'all, the minor 9/11. It just has that pretty, what I'm saying? The minor 9, because it's a pretty chord to play, right? So you know, it's just no specific, chord that's my favorite. Let me see. I had to move. Let me see that. Which way I gotta move this? Left or right? That way? Which way? Which way do I need to move this? I can see the end of the keyboard. So it's the other way? Okay, is that cool right there? All right. I had this set up for Facebook. Now I just realized I'm on YouTube. See, I think that's better. All right. Yeah, so, is that better? I had to set up for YouTube, Facebook, so now I gotta do my camera setup different. Okay. Slightly different. And let's see here. All right, let me see here. I think that's right there. Did I go too far? The way this looks. Is that the way it look? Just trying to make sure I can see the keyboard better. Or more of the keyboard. Let's see here. Why am I seeing more of the ending of the keyboard? So we gotta go back this way. Right. Now let's see here. I should do the trick. Let's see. All right. Is that better or worse? Why does it look like that? Sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to fix this thing. I have my other apparatus over there. I think that's better. Okay. Looks better to me. At least I'm in the middle of the keyboard. And I haven't figured out how to do the features on there. It used to have the flip feature, but I don't see the little thing that allows me to do that, to make the keyboard where my left hand is over here and my right hand is over here. Oh, you know what? I know why. All right, my bad, y'all. Now, I think the next video I'll do it, I have to turn the whole phone around and record. That's why. That's why you get the flip side. Maybe I'll hang up on this video and do another video. Yeah, let me do that. I'm gonna hang up from this video. I'm gonna come back and do another video. I have to turn the whole phone all the way around the other direction. I was wondering why it looked like that over here. So I'm gonna hang off here, hang up from this video. I'm gonna pop on another video, and I just realized I'm recording with the eye looking this way, but if I flip the phone around the other way, the keys will be over here to the left. And I just realized now Facebook had a feature that, YouTube had this feature where it allows me to do the mirror flip, but I don't see it on here. I don't see that option on there. Yeah, I don't see it on there. I used to see the option on there, but I don't see where it says you can do that with this. What's up? What's up? I'm gonna clock off of this video and open up another video and turn my cell phone the other direction, backside. I just realized it's like my left hand, my right hand is over here, and I just realized it's on the wrong side. And like I said, YouTube used to have a feature on there, and I don't see the features no more. There used to be a feature that allows you to do the mirror flip, and I don't see it on here. And neither do I see it up here. But they used to have it on there, and I don't know why that feature is no longer there anymore. But thanks for coming in. Never mind, gorgeous. You stop it. Let me see. Oh, that's great. Hello. All right, I'm gonna start another video. So I'm gonna cut off this one, come back on, and flip my phone the other direction, so that way the keys is not in the wrong place. It's supposed to be over here, and this spec part is supposed to be over there. So stay tuned. I'll be back. I know I didn't play any too many chords in this particular video. I was supposed to. I was planning on playing some stuff, but then I got to telling y'all what happened to me and all this stuff that, got sick, and now I'm well enough to kind of come back and do this again. So give me a moment. Let me tap out of this video and go over and flip this phone around. Whoops. Love y'all, and I'll catch y'all in just a moment. Whoops.